Thank you.
I appreciate it. I was actually just doing prep work for my show, but I had to call in about this Jason Dominguez thing.
Okay.
So it makes no sense. Trent Grisham, the only reason that he's going to play is he's making $22 million this year.
No.
Now,
He's
this
playing
was
because he hit
also
34 home runs last year. That's why he's
okay. So we're talking about 26. Who had a better spring training, Mike?
But you don't judge that stuff on a
Hold
veteran.
on, but you don't answer the question. Trent Grisham.
How you doing?
I'm great, man. I always love the show. I've been listening to you since you were with John Sterling on 880. So
thank you.
I appreciate it. I was actually just doing prep work for my show, but I had to call in about this Jason Dominguez thing.
Okay.
So it makes no sense. Trent Grisham, the only reason that he's going to play is he's making $22 million this year.
No.
Now,
He's
this
playing
was
because he hit
also
34 home runs last year. That's why he's
okay. So we're talking about 26. Who had a better spring training, Mike?
But you don't judge that stuff on a veteran.
Hold on, but you don't answer the questions. You listen. I think you say you're a Jason guy, but you're not. Trent Grisham had a worse spring training. He had a worse average. Jason Dominguez had better defensive metrics than him in the outfield last year. Trent Grisham was 11th overall in the American League in defense and center field.
Eric, you have
so
eyeballs.
If you're going to have a left-handed hitter,
you're falling back on. You have eyeballs, right? Jason Dominguez is a terrible defender. If you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. You're spitting defensive metrics at me when the excuse the Yankees have with Grisham is that he had a bad hamstring. He's always been a fine outfielder, Gold Glove level outfielder. He's even with a bad hamstring, he's a much better outfielder than Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez is not yet a good outfielder. So you're going to take a guy, Eric, that hit 34 home runs last year, and you're going to bench him and play Jason Dominguez. So then you're going to take a great left fielder in Bellinger, put him in center where he's not as good as he is in left, and then take a below par left fielder in Dominguez, put him there. That means you're going to play Grisham off the bench. You're going to bench 34 home runs because a guy didn't hit in spring training. Listen, you said you're preparing for your show. I hope your show is great. You're operating in a fantasy land. If you think that that's how decisions are made. A guy hits 34 home runs, has a bad spring training, and you're going to cut bait with him. You don't know the game. I'm being honest with you, buddy. You don't know the game. If you just because I like Jason Dominguez, first of all, I like the way he's handled the fact that he didn't play a lot last year because Grisham took his job away. Didn't play a lot the previous year because of Alex Verdugo. He's never complained. When he gets in there, he works hard, plays hard, and never, ever pouts. Great guy on the bench. But because I like him, I'm supposed to put all kind of rational thought on the shelf and go, oh, Grisham had a bad spring training. Out. 34 home runs, I don't care. He didn't hit in Tampa. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. If that's your thought process, I don't know what to tell you. Has nothing, what it said on the line that you want, the Yankees are getting cheap. It's not nothing to do with cheap. Let's say if Dominguez had this great spring training, which he did, and he took the job from Grisham. Grisham would still be on the bench. They'd still pay him his $22 million. Jason Dominguez makes minimum wage. Under $1 million. It's just taking that money, putting it on a different shelf. Has nothing to do with money. Has to do with production. So Grisham's a better outfielder, and he had 34 home runs last year. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out, Eric. But obviously, you're not able to figure it out. You're willing to bag a guy who had 34 home runs because he had a bad spring training. So let me get this straight. If Aaron Judge had a bad spring training, even though he won an MVP last year and was the batting titleist, you wouldn't start him, right? So past performance has nothing to do with it, just what happens in spring training. So let me get this right. Carlos Lagrange had a much better spring training than Max Fried. Maybe he should start opening day, right? The fact that Fried won 19 games last year, no, it doesn't matter. Lagrange had a better spring training. So did Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. Let's put him in the rotation instead of Schlittler.
Well, me and Michael Kay had a little run-in today. So there you have it. I called up Michael Kay today. You know, you really struck a nerve when you make an 8-second comment and the guy goes on for it for about 3 to 4 minutes after you hang up. All I said today was that Jason Dominguez should be starting in the outfield over Trent Grisham, and he decided to lose his mind and say that I don't know baseball. Well, hey, Mike, I'm here to tell you that, in fact, I do know baseball, and the 13 million views I got on social media last year would actually prove opposite of what you do. You have a captured audience on ESPN Radio, a dying industry, and now you have a predisposed audience. Why don't you try doing this, Mike? Why don't you try getting a YouTube show, because that's the future when you lose your job at ESPN, and see how many people organically go over to you for your sports insight? Or are you just a fossil who mails it in, doesn't watch every single game, and actually, I'm here to tell you the game's passed you by, Mike. Because you're not doing 12-hour days at your desk keeping tabs on everything like New York Minute Sports. And let's dissect this whole Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham thing. And what I said to you was that Trent Grisham and Jason Dominguez, it's a proven fact. Trent Grisham was the 11th best outfielder in the American League last year. Jason Dominguez had better defensive metrics than him. The eyeball test, absolutely. Does Trent Grisham look like a better outfielder than him? Yeah, just stating facts here. Also, let me state some other facts, Mike. You've been a cheerleader for this New York Yankees team, and you are a homer, by the way, and you can't call balls and strikes when it comes to the Yankees because they pay your salary. $22 million, Trent Grisham. Why are you putting so much stock in a guy that had one crazy year? He's been in the league for 6 to 7 years. He's lackadaisical, has a hamstring problem, and he's not that good of an outfielder. You said he's fine in the outfield, and then he's a gold glover. Which one is it, Mike? For a team like the New York Yankees, who has been fielding their team like a beer softball league, everybody out of position, now all of a sudden, you're really worried if you play Jason Dominguez, who's subpar in the outfield? What's happened the last 5 years on the New York Yankees? And I didn't say that Jason Dominguez would play center field. You're putting words in my mouth. And also, I've heard from people in your office directly, Mike, that you know about my show. For the last year, I've heard people say, yo, I heard Mike say exactly what you said on your show last night at 11 p.m. So why don't you stop looking at YouTube and other creators like us who are putting the hard work in and watching every single game and curating your information for your show at 1 o'clock that you hated doing for the last 8 years, and no one can work with you, Mike. That's why you're by yourself from 1 to 3. So is it I don't know baseball, Mike? Or do you sit on YouTube at night, find out what you're going to say on tomorrow's show from influencers on Instagram, social media, and X, and then when you say that people are your co-host and they actually come with the receipts, the numbers, I don't think he wants somebody that actually knows what they're talking about on air. Then he proceeds to dog walk me for the next 4 minutes. After I just got telling him I've been a fan since he was with John Sterling. Then he mocks me and my show by saying, you're getting ready for your show. Hope it's a great show. Guess what, Mike? I'm telling you right now, it's on. Within 3 years, I'm going to have more followers than you, and I'm going to be one of the biggest names in sports entertainment. And guess what? It's on. The way that you talked to me today and the way that you handled that conversation, you were sophomoric at best. So keep being a fossil. Keep putting your head in the sand with the New York Yankees because they write your checks. You can't be impartial, Mike. That's like a representative from the U.S. government. You're the Pete Heckcheck of the New York Yankees, Mike. It's funny, man. You had a fan in me for a very long time. After today, you decided to get personal. And I got a big reach, dude. Let me just tell you, Mike, I am going to have a lot of fun when I see on the ticker that ESPN Radio is closing its doors. This is the future, and you're looking at it. And when you get to YouTube, like Tierney and Salicata and all those guys, the Misfit Toys, you're going to be one of them too. And I've been here for the last 2 years, laying the groundwork with organic fans. The New York Minute Nuts, folks. I thought I'd get on. I thought I'd air it out. I thought I'd let them know what's on my mind. After that phone call, literally just calling him up trying to talk baseball. Looks like Michael K. Stop watching my show. You said my name 11 times. You know who I am. I'm coming to get you. Come hell or high water, I'm going to be bigger than you in 2 years. And this isn't ego talking. This isn't me thinking I'm bigger than I am. It's on. Okay? This is competition. And guess what? I go to 50 games a year. We will run into each other one way or another on Instagram. I would like to have the debate again. And if you're man enough, hit me up. Later.